Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Jar of Marble dwellers and Jar of Marble curious. My name is Linda and this is Jar of Marbles. I'm so glad that you joined me this week. I've been looking at the door and I've been checking my watch and looking, out the backyard, wondering where you've been or where you are, and here you are. So thank you for coming to join me again. This week I wanted to talk a little bit about time travel with mindfulness. There are things that we have to do if we are to have a good life, a fantastic life. Mindfulness is the practice of purposely bringing one's attention to the present moment experience. Mindfulness, it's a pretty straightforward word. It's the basic and at the same time not so basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are, what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. But how does that play out in the everyday world around us? If we take our eye off the ball, our heart space, our mindfulness, determination to feel open and fully awake in our day-to-day, doesn't take long before we feel compromised, does it? And that shows up in a myriad of ways. Hashtag time travel and mindfulness. Sometimes I wish I could turn back the hands of time, press pause just for a while. As Ariana Huffington said, if you learn how mindfulness can improve how you feel and you take up the practice for that reason, that's a great beginning. Whether you seek a neuroscientist to present the science-backed benefits of mindfulness, an inspiring professional to share the many benefits of mindfulness in your workplace, or more importantly, just in your day-to-day life. Snoop Dogg said, "You've got to always go back in time if you want to move forward." I did a little bit of research on the whole, thought about going backwards, and, some people go, you should never go back and, leave the past behind. It's like, well, I think there's definitely particular things that do need to be left behind. They don't need to be prodded and poked at and, what's the word? I was going to say rejuvenated, but it's not that, is it? It's like, what's that word, that birds do with other birds? Let's go for regurgitated. Anyway, there are 5 steps to mindfulness, and I was just having a little look at that, and it's quite interesting that, we can go past and we can allow our mind to wander into the past, and we may waste our energy on regrets, for example. Wandering into future can also bring up concerns as to how things will turn out. So I am, however, all about a bit of time travel, great experiences that are worth reliving while you're planning your next stunts. I say stunts because when I look back on my life, it feels like I've pulled off a stunt or two without that ever being my intention, and maybe I just like the word stunt. And I have learnt so much from my past. A lot of it is worth remembering and cherishing and wondering about, as in, how did I do that? And wasn't it great when I, had my babies? And wasn't it fantastic when I took that opportunity or received that beautiful gift, or a friend contacted to say, hi, I miss you? Just all these things and many, many more instances. You just have reasons to go, there's so much in our past that is worthwhile treasuring and learning from. So in my case, if I venture into my past with mindfulness, it can be a bit of a hoot, mainly because I can say unequivocally that there are chunks of me that no longer exist, meaning when I was 30 or 40, even 50, I have changed a lot, that I've got beyond a lot of stuff, which makes for some interest in what will 65 me be or 75 me be doing. I mean, you can apply that to yourself as well. We are privileged if we get to ask that. So many of us did not make it this far. Activities, aspects that were once our signature something have gone, and mostly willingly. Stilettos as a classic example. For me personally, I wore the heck out of them for years. I loved them and could not see a day where I wouldn't be wearing them anymore. And then that day came. I have kept a few pairs though, because I'm a bit nostalgic and I can't let go easily. Or can I? That's the thing. There lies the question. Is it nostalgia, or is it ultimately a bit on the old hoarding side? Well, I have to say recently I have been going through long-standing renovations, months and months in fact, and basically the best chunk of a year. And through that experience, closets had to be emptied and shelves and drawers and inserts in the wardrobes, and then drawers upon drawers of clothes, shoes, products, 2, 3 and 4 of basically the same thing forgotten. All came out to be seen, and boy, oh boy, I felt sick. I had forgotten about most of these belongings, most of which I will never use or wear again. Charity shops, here they come. And can I say, so many, not all, but many op shops are nothing like they were. They run them like these price tag, boutiques with overpriced clothes. It doesn't feel compassionate. And if someone is scratching for $1, they seriously have to be kidding at the prices they're asking for. Thrift shops, indeed. Okay, rant over. Anyway, hashtag time travel and mindfulness. Do you have a time travel machine? Well, Bob, mine was working fine tomorrow, but for now it's not. Too late. The aspects of self that require development are done so, or they just fade away. It's most definitely a priority thing. What was a duty is no longer. Example, being on top of all my housework. I've always been filled with purpose, having everything organised ahead of time, having 3 daughters. It actually just made life pleasant. Now that I have no kids at home, adult kids in the home, no kids in the home, my workload has lessened a lot. And so what is done now is easy by comparison. But back to time travel. Do you really have a time machine? I do, Bob, in my mind. Oh, how very disappointing. All right. What I do, Bob, is something will stir up a memory and I find myself there, except now I have this mind and I'm not invested in the memory anymore. So do you feel me? Not really. So I can go back and smile at it. I can smile at myself. I can change the narrative, if you will. What does that mean? Well, what it means is if it was once an uncomfortable memory, it can become sweet. I can see my innocence or recall how confused I was feeling at the time, so the narrative changes. I can see that it was okay to feel that way. It was perfect that I felt that way, that with the knowledge I had at the time. I couldn't have felt any different. Oh, I like that. So do I, Bob. You know what I really feel like? What? Oh, that's nice. I know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know. Honestly, got to give yourself an applause. When I found out about changing narratives, I was instantly interested and I looked to see how I could apply that in my life. I did not want to keep alive narratives that kept me feeling stuck to something that in reality didn't exist or just had no place in my life. Old narratives rob you of mindfulness and keep you in a historical blur, and that is of zero interest to me, especially when you find out that there is a way, not only out, but it sets up a path to lead out permanently to most likely where you will thrive. I'm so stoked to share this because I know many of you know what I'm talking about. And also my hope is that if someone is listening and is thinking, hell yes, this is for me, then know you have just found your way on out, or know that change is a real option. Accept the present moment. That's another one. A cherished friend called me stoic recently. I recall on one of my time travel trips reading the word stoic for the very first time. I thought it was pronounced stoic. Thought it was a great word though. It's still a grand word and I still say stoic. And now and again a stranger will correct me and say knowingly and sagely, it's stoic. Many thanks, Amanda. And I thought on it and had never sort of thought of myself as stoic. It was intended more as a compliment as opposed to an assessment. But isn't it curious when someone tells you that they think of you in some way and you have never? Am I stoic? You are most certainly stoic. Yay! How many of us have had to put on a brave face and keep going? You know, sort of like telling yourself good things, encouraging yourself. I'm an old hand at cheering myself on with, come on, Linda, you'll be okay. And knowing full well you probably weren't, but my voice was going to be the only voice that was going to cheer me on. I had learned after a series of seriously off scenarios that was to keep my business to myself. I didn't spill much at all, kept my answers impersonal and indirect, and given the circumstances at the time, it was wise. It's still pretty wise. Hashtag time travel and mindfulness. Shit, yes. It was also acknowledging the present moment. It was where I was at that time, and I felt like an opportunity for lessons learned or to learn, prove to myself that I was sitting up and listening, I was paying heed, that I wasn't prepared to go down the same road of bullshit and wonder why it wasn't working out. Oh, you said bullshit. I did, Bob. Asking myself, Hey you, are you happy? Man, that's a question and a half when you're all churned up inside, and over time I got to say yes, without a doubt, I am very happy. I rely on me, and that was a peaceful knowing, and it is a peaceful knowing. Great friends are gifts from the heavens, people that truly love you and get you and seek you out. I mean, I have to mention the old crumpet of meditation as a road to mindfulness, because meditate, the great debate, what a skill to devote to your brain and mind health. The skill set required is shutting your eyelids. Truly amazing. I know. Shutting your eyelids, that's all. That's right, Bob, that's all you have to do. With meditation, the benefits are by far the most interesting. Rapid recall and memory improves, slows down the ageing process. Oh, I like that. Oh, me too, Bob. Lower cortisol, therefore less stress is experienced, better grades and outcomes with studies, less anxiety experienced, and more creativity, more ideas and inspiration. Get in touch with your senses. I get away usually once a month to a cottage in the countryside with a fab friend on a large property, and it's quiet and divine, surrounded by flowering and leafy trees, flowers, herbs, hedging, horses, friendly dog, burning log fire when required, endless skies and bird life extraordinaire, laughing kookaburras, roaming deer and kangaroos. Point is, I actively and regularly extract myself out of my day-to-day, as does my bestie, and we chillax. We rest and chat, enjoy the peacefulness, snooze if we chill, if we want, snooze if we chill, and eat like queens. A feast for the senses. And that's another little thing I've noticed. We eat like queens, we have a fabulous time, and I come back, every time I've come back, I've lost half a kilo. So there's something to be said for a stress-free environment and giving yourself that gift. So a feast for the senses indeed, and no internet. So it's a total disconnection, almost unheard of today, isn't it? My day-to-day, I'm usually at a park a lot with my grandson, and that is lovely too. That is deep breathing, feeling grateful, and running around with an active 18-month-old baby boy. Point is, I actively and regularly extract myself out of my day in order to have some real peace of mind. I actively pursue this time as the benefits speak for themselves. So another is practice mindfulness during routine activities. Now, back into this day-to-day thing. After the cottage experience, I can inject that serenity. Serenity? That's a combination of serenity and severity. No, it's not. It's oh, stop it. So I can inject the serenity I experience there into my vacuuming or driving or going to the superb marquee, things that can be the last thing you actually want to do. I can place my mind on the views I saw at the cottage, the laughter and the calmness. I can close my eyes and I am there straight away. In the fast-paced life of today, an individual believe that they do not have the time to relax and think about their mental health. Stress and anxiety have become so pervasive that more people are suffering from mental health issues related to them. Psychological problems are not recognised as a serious problem by individuals, and therefore people just keep pushing through. It is so easy to understand. We've all done it and do it. If meditation is not the go, you can still have mindfulness without meditation. Walk mindfully when walking with the intent of being mindful. Feel the process of moving. Walk in nature. Walking in nature is an incredible way to practice mindfulness, practice gratitude, spend time journaling, eat with intention. Actually, about that journaling business, I've got to say, I do a little bit of journaling, and I noticed the other day when I was journaling, I tend to write down my goals. I write down, sort of bullet points, what's going on around me. I will write down any negative thoughts that I've been thinking. I'll be very honest, I will write exactly what it is, that's been bugging me. And sometimes if you do write a lot, you notice that you're kind of still being bothered by the same line of thinking. But I noticed recently when I was looking at my negative thinking that I had actually found a way of thinking that didn't allow me to go to that place. It's as soon as I notice it, it's like, nope. It's not denying what's going on around. If it's something that you've been, trying to figure out for ages and you're still coming out with the same answers for yourself personally, then something's got to change. So I think it's like, for me, it's writing now more with intention because I'm thinking more with intention. Same goes with eating with intention. Remain curious. I love feeling curious about things. I even get curious about myself at times. I wonder what I'm going to come out with. I'm not even joking. Listen and be present. Along with mindfulness, another priority is sleep. It is nuts how important sleep actually is. And when I did a deep dive into the latest research with the benefits and what occurs during sleep and what hours certain, systems start cleaning themselves out or rejuvenating, it just really started to make so much sense. And did you know what organs detox at what time? The endocrine system detoxes between 9 and 11 o'clock at night, which makes sense as to why, you need to be in bed and really relaxing, if not sleeping by 9 o'clock. And that's why it's so important about making early bedtime a great choice. 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. is the gallbladder. Initial cleansing of all tissues, processes, cholesterol, and enhances brain function. I like to have lots of that. The liver begins to cleanse toxins. So did you know that between 1 and 3 a.m. is the time of the liver and a time when the body should be asleep? During this time, toxins are released from the body and fresh new blood is made. If you find yourself waking during this time, you could have problems with your liver or detoxification pathways. The hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are governed by the lungs. Prioritise sleep. Plenty to say about sleep, but I think it's important to get into the why. I don't know if you've heard of an Australian lady, naturopath, nurse, mother, grandmother, Barbara O'Neill, an Australian woman, I think I said that, and her knowledge is huge and very practical. I listen to everything I can get my hands on YouTube, and again, this now brings me to the next one, is prioritise learning. Be teachable. You're not always right. And I'm finding that, I'm learning so much, and not only that, I'm applying it to my life. And can I say, big differences, big improvements, without a shadow of a doubt. Because why would you carry on and keep something up if you weren't feeling the benefits and feeling great and really enjoying, yourself, your life? Prioritise self-care. I'm all about self-care, and I'm a bit of an advocate for that. It's a beautiful day to stop dwelling on things that you cannot control. Put the face pack on already and go for a nap. Yes, would you? Thank you. Thank you. Also, prioritising gratitude. Take time to be thankful for everything you have. You can always have more, but you could always have less. My goodness, I like that. I like that too. I thought you would, Bob. Prioritise mindfulness. As you know, it's an entire subject touching on so many other fundamental life truths, as is prioritise movement, walk. When was the last time you danced? Not all of us are gym goers, but we can still dance. There was a bit of a song. There was a little Irish jig, beautiful song. Whiskey in the Field was on playing this afternoon, and I was out in the backyard. I was dancing. Fortunately, my fences are nice and high, so no one can see me. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Anyway, I digress. Oh, I'm getting an applause for digressing. You know why? Because you can, that's why. Anyway, so not all of us are, gym goers. I am. I wasn't for many years, but I have been for quite some time now, and I go on a regular basis because it is a must, an absolute must. As I go towards my golden years, I have to stay strong. I want to stay strong. There is absolutely no chance that I want to be a weak 70-year-old, and that's only 8 years away. I know. Anyway, another is prioritise hydration, drinking water, Celtic salt with the 3 magnesiums, 92 minerals. Oh my goodness. It can't be overstated the importance of water for your brain functionality, for your organs, your skin. I just had to give Celtic salt a bit of a bit of a shout out there because regular iodized salt has 2 minerals in it. It's also processed with aluminium. It's connected to all sorts of things like Alzheimer's and all sorts of brain problems, whereas the Celtic salt has 3 magnesiums in it and has 92 minerals. I believe Himalayan salts have 75, which is a good salt as well, but the Celtic salt or Celtic salt has 3 magnesiums in it, which is amazing. We've got to prioritise our mental health. We got to ditch the guilt. Self-care is not selfish. Very important to get that. I also wonder how many just don't get that. It has to have a place in all of our lives. We've also got to prioritise our social connections. This is something that we can let go of and not even realise that we have until we are standing with our undies on our head, wondering how we found ourselves there when we ignore people forever and ever and ever, and then we wonder why they don't want anything to do with us anymore. Like, honestly, it's sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. So many of us are in the same boat. We are going through mammoth changes at this stage of our lives, and to have at least one good friend to talk to and have laughs with is priceless. But be around them on a regular basis. Don't ring once every 1 year with a list of problems. Ring up to ask how they are. It's amazing how, and I think this whole connectivity that we have with the internet, we've been robbed of social graces. We've been robbed of communication. Anyway, don't get me started on that. But anyway, prioritise stress management, consciously checking in with you. How many of us do that? Well, I know more than ever before I am. We have to normalise checking in with ourselves. More than that, do it. But are you? That's the question. We look out of ourselves to others, don't we? Instead of seeing into ourselves and ensure that we are doing well. Prioritise whole foods. You don't even have to be close to being a genius to know our food is not what it was, that the soils are usually not replenished and farmers have to make a buck. Of course they do, but over time, the vegetables just don't have the same nutritional content. Animals are not cared for the way they were. They have everything pumped into them, many of whom are very sick animals, ensuring fast growth and turnover for profit, and we then consume that. There is so much information out there, and I love digging, probably why I like gardening. Digress much? Looks like it, Bobo. Going back in time, a flutter with time travel can remind us of who we are. We can be more compassionate with ourselves, mindful with ourselves as we would be with our family and friends. We can see how we didn't know what the hell we were doing, how fantastic our times were, great friends and mini adventures, and if you can't remember it all, fill it in with whatever you want. It's your trip after all. Time travel with mindfulness gives us that opportunity to become wiser about what hijacks our awe of every present moment. This is a worthwhile way to spend our limited physical life. I love that idea. Yeah, me too, Bob. Well, Marble Dwellers, it's the end of another podcast. Thank you as always. It thrills me to bits that you came. And just a thought on top of many thoughts. If you can't control it, don't allow it to steal your present moment. Remember, us humans can reason. We can change and shift our states through the ability of becoming more aware of the big picture. I love the expansiveness that this kind of thinking provides. Hey, Marble Dwellers, good luck with whatever it is you've got going on. I hope something really nice happens to you today. You deserve it. Stay hydrated. Okay, say g'day to the family for me. Lightly prod the huntsman, and I'll see you next time, okay? All right, bye.